Alright, I'm going to show you how to do your final assembly of your pop-up greeting card. The first step that I'm going to do is fold it, and then I'll need a couple of things here. I'm going to need a scissors to do some cutting, or use a paper cutter. I'm going to need a glue stick, and I'm going to pick out some of these, which I'll talk about in a minute. But first I'm going to go ahead and fold this. Be careful when you do this that you fold it straight and that you take your time to do a good job. I'm going to line up the corners here and then start in the middle and move outward. So you can see the border of this is a little bit too big, so I'm going to use the scissors here to carefully cut this down. So you can see on this edge there's a slight border. I'm going to try to match that as best I can. We're good with scissors. I'm going to hold this tight so it's even. Not too far off. A little trimming here. Alright. And on this side, careful that the paper stays together. Alright, there, I got that trimmed. Make sure you throw this away, don't leave your mess around. Alright, and then, looks pretty good. Inside looks pretty good. Now I'm ready to glue in the pop-up part. So I've already laser cut a bunch of different colors here. For mine I'm going to use black. You can use whichever color you want. That's in the box here. You need 4 of these. And the way they fit together, you can see there's little slots cut out of them. They fit together. The slots fit into each other. Be careful not to rip it as you do it. So there's one. There's 2. And then what I want to make sure I have is that I have opposite tabs sticking up. So I don't want to put this one here because this little tab thing is going to get glued down. I want this one on the opposite side. Actually, I'm going to flip this one around. So these are, so you can see what I mean, these are kind of diagonal from each other. So I want these flaps to be on opposite sides too. So not like this, like this. Alright, so I'm going to push those together, struggling a little bit there. And then you can see how this mechanism works. When the card opens up and closes, this will fold in and out. So you don't actually need all of these tabs, so what you want to do is decide which ones you want to keep, and you can kind of look at where the paper is going to tuck in. So I'm going to use this fire here, and I kind of want it to open so the flame's pointing this way. So I'm going to look at which way that would be. It would be on this side, so the paper can slide into the gaps this way. So I'm going to use the ones that are on the bottom here, which would be these flaps, and I am going to carefully fold those up on the outside. And then the one opposite that one also on the bottom. There we go. Now I could leave these top ones if I want, but I don't, so I'm actually going to snip those off. And then I can get an idea about how this is going to work. So these tabs that I just folded down are going to get glued to the paper here. And then when the paper closes, this is going to be like an accordion. It's going to fold up. So you can play with this a little bit to get an idea. It ends up being positioned like this, kind of diagonally. Not exactly, which I'll show you in a minute. But you want to think about where that's going to be. If you put it in like this, it's not going to fold right. It'll just crumple it. So you want to make it into kind of a square, and where the fold is on the paper connects the opposite corners of that square, so it's a diagonal. And then that, when it's connected, will fold up nicely into there. So how you do this is you're going to use a glue stick and you're going to glue this in. Now you have to be careful not to glue your card together, because it's all paper. You can glue it together pretty easily. So I'm going to push this accordion closed, and I'm going to only put glue on this little tab right here and the one on the opposite side, which is right here. So I'm going to be careful to only get glue on that. See, I'm going to hold that off. And it doesn't take too much glue. If you have too much, then it can spread to the other parts of your card, and then your card will get glued together, and that's no fun. Alright, so now I just have glue on there. I'm going to carefully plan this out before I stick it on. So it's going to go about there when this opens up. So what I'm actually going to do is stick this side in and hold that down. And then I'm not going to stick this end on yet. What I'm going to do is actually put this together like this and get this one ready and straighten this out, and then I'm going to push on the other side of the card just briefly, just a little bit, just enough to get it to stick, but not too much. And then I'm going to make sure that I'm not gluing my card together. So don't open it up all the way, just open it up a little bit and make sure that there isn't any extra glue. So there I have some. This will dry clear in a minute. I don't want to open it all the way up because the glue's not dry yet, but I do want to kind of look in there and see is everything lined up. And that way the card will actually be flat when you open it up, and it'll pop up later on. So you have to be patient now. You want to make sure that this is going to stick. You can even push on it from there, but you don't want it all the way closed. You don't want to glue your card together. So this probably only takes about 15 minutes before you can start handling it. So I'll be back in 15 minutes. Alright, I waited 15 minutes, and now this should be dry enough to handle. Notice that when you open it up, it kind of twists a little bit here and here, which is fine. That's the way that this part's designed. It's still a little bit fragile. It might tear if you do it, 100 or 1,000 times. But it should be good enough for when you give it to whoever you're giving it to. So now this mechanism here is ready to have the laser cutouts glued in. So I made this oriented so that you could slide this paper in. Now that's not going to be permanent, so I'm going to use my glue stick again and make a plan for how I want to glue this in. I'll put a little bit of glue here on the bottom, and then I'm going to slide this in here carefully and give a little squeeze. Alright. See, I want these flames going the opposite direction, so I'll put a little glue on the bottom here, and then I'm going to put this one in the opposite side. Give it a little squeeze. Alright, I made a few of these, so let's see, I want this one facing this way. A little bit of glue on there. Give a little squeeze. And I have one more. Put this one going this way, so I want the glue on this side. Squeeze. Alright, so I have my effect of some flames here. Probably want to wait a couple of minutes until this gets a chance to dry. But I can kind of test it out a little bit. This one might be even better if I put another yellow flame over here, but that's pretty much it. So like before, you don't want to close this up and then glue your card together, so you want to give it a little bit of time. But other than that, that's it. Then you're done.